What if I told you that the most anticipated sedan reveal of the last 3 decades just happened, and almost nobody saw it coming? Toyota didn't send out press invitations. They didn't host a glitzy unveiling event in Las Vegas or Munich. They just dropped it, quietly, confidently, like they already knew they had won. And now, the entire sedan market is scrambling to respond. Stay right here, because what you're about to see is going to change how you think about Toyota forever. Welcome back to AutoElite World, the channel where we go deeper than the specs, beyond the brochure, and straight into what really matters about the machines shaping our roads. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because we cover the automotive world at a level most channels never reach. And today, we are talking about one of the most significant sedan stories in modern automotive history. 30 years. Think about that for a second. 30 years of playing it safe, of building reliable, sensible, predictable sedans that sold by the millions but never truly stopped the conversation. 30 years of Toyota watching the luxury sedan space get dominated by German engineering and Korean ambition while they quietly built something different. Something patient. Something calculated. And now, that patience has an answer, and it has arrived with the kind of confidence that only comes from decades of preparation. The reason this vehicle is generating so much buzz isn't just about the car itself, it's about what it represents. Toyota has historically been the master of volume, of trust, of dependability. But the luxury sedan buyer doesn't just want dependability, they want desire. They want to feel something when they pull into the valet lane. They want heads to turn. And for a very long time, Toyota sedan buyers had to go elsewhere for that feeling. That era is now over, and the automotive world is just beginning to process what that actually means. What Toyota has reportedly done with this new sedan is something genuinely unexpected. They've taken the platform engineering that made their hybrid systems legendary, combined it with a design language that feels more Italian than Japanese, and wrapped it all in a cabin experience that is expected to challenge what we currently call the benchmark for interior luxury in this segment. That's a bold claim, but when you look at the details emerging from inside the company, it starts to feel less like marketing and more like mission accomplished. Let's start where your eyes will start. The exterior of this sedan is, without question, a departure. Toyota's design team has clearly been given a mandate that sounds something like this: stop being forgettable. And they delivered. The front fascia carries what appears to be an aggressive, wide-stance presence that feels athletic without being theatrical. There's a sculptural quality to the hood line, with tension built into the sheet metal in a way that suggests movement even when the car is standing still. The side profile is where things get particularly interesting. The roofline reportedly flows in a fastback-influenced arc that keeps the silhouette sleek while maintaining practical headroom for rear passengers. A balance that many competitors have failed to strike. The shoulder line rises with purpose, creating a shadow effect along the lower doors that gives the car a sense of visual mass without adding bulk. This is sophisticated design thinking, and it shows. At the rear, expectations are high for a full-width lighting element connecting the taillights, a design move that signals premium intent and creates an unmistakable identity at night. The integration of the trunk lid, the diffuser-style lower bumper treatment, and what's anticipated to be available quad exhaust tips all contribute to a rear view that doesn't just close the visual story, it punctuates it. This is a car that is designed to be recognized, and on that front, Toyota appears to have succeeded entirely. Now step inside, and this is where the real story begins. The interior of this new Toyota sedan is expected to represent the single biggest leap forward the brand has ever made in a non-Lexus product. And that statement alone should tell you everything you need to know about Toyota's intentions here. They are not content with being the sensible choice. They are coming for the emotional choice. The cabin layout is anticipated to feature a driver-focused cockpit architecture, meaning everything curves toward the person behind the wheel in a way that creates an immersive, connected feeling. The center console is expected to be raised and sculptural, drawing a clear visual line between driver and passenger space while incorporating premium touchpoints throughout. We're talking about real metal, real stitched leather, and real wood or carbon fiber trim options that justify every dollar of the anticipated price point. The seating is reportedly developed with long-distance comfort as a primary engineering goal, multi-way power adjustment, ventilation, and heating are expected across multiple trim levels, with the higher configurations potentially offering a massage function that, in this segment, has become less of a luxury and more of an expectation. The rear passenger experience is also said to have received serious attention, with legroom dimensions that are expected to compete directly with vehicles that currently define the standard in executive sedan comfort. Ambient lighting is anticipated to be customizable across a wide spectrum of colors and intensity levels, allowing the driver to set a mood that matches the moment. Whether you're carving canyon roads at dusk or cruising into a downtown dinner, the cabin is expected to transform itself around you. That kind of thoughtful design is what separates a vehicle that you sit in from a vehicle that you experience. The technology inside this sedan is where Toyota is expected to make its most emphatic statement yet. For too long, Toyota's infotainment systems have lagged behind what buyers in this price bracket expect. That reputation appears to be getting addressed in a very serious way with this generation. The centerpiece is anticipated to be a large format display that could reach into the double digits in terms of screen real estate, running what sources suggest will be a completely redesigned software interface built with response speed and intuitive navigation as the top priorities. If Toyota has truly solved its software lag issues, that alone will shift buyer perception significantly. And early indications suggest they may have done exactly that. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity are expected as standard across the lineup, along with an embedded navigation system that leverages real-time traffic data and integrates with the vehicle's driver assistance systems to suggest optimal routes dynamically. The audio system is anticipated to offer a premium branded sound setup in higher trims, with speaker placement and tuning calibrated specifically for this cabin's acoustic properties. The digital driver display is expected to be highly customizable, allowing the driver to prioritize the information most relevant to their driving style, whether that's efficiency data, performance metrics, or navigation guidance. Over-the-air update capability is also anticipated, meaning this vehicle is expected to grow more capable over time, rather than becoming obsolete. In a world where technology moves faster than model cycles, that kind of future-proofing matters enormously. Now, let's talk about what sits under the hood, because this is where Toyota is expected to make a statement that goes far beyond the visual and the technological. Performance expectations for this sedan are genuinely exciting, and they reflect Toyota's position at the absolute frontier of hybrid and electrified powertrain development. The base powertrain is anticipated to feature a refined four-cylinder hybrid setup that could generate a combined output estimated in the neighborhood of 250 horsepower, delivering the kind of efficiency numbers that would embarrass traditional six-cylinder competitors, while offering near-instantaneous torque delivery thanks to the electric motor integration. For daily driving, this configuration is expected to feel quick, smooth, and remarkably composed. But here's where things get really interesting. Upper trim configurations are reportedly being developed around a more potent hybrid system that could push combined output toward the 350 horsepower range, potentially offering all-wheel drive capability through a dual-motor setup. If those numbers hold, this Toyota sedan would be positioned to challenge some genuinely serious performance machinery in the luxury sport sedan category. That's a conversation nobody expected to be having about a Toyota sedan, and it speaks volumes about how much the brand's ambitions have evolved. Fuel economy estimates across the lineup are expected to be class-leading, with the standard hybrid configuration potentially achieving numbers that make a strong argument against any comparable combustion-only competitor. In today's market, where efficiency and performance are no longer mutually exclusive, Toyota's hybrid expertise gives them an advantage that is genuinely difficult for rivals to replicate overnight. Talking about powertrain numbers is one thing, but what does this car actually feel like when you put it in motion? Based on everything that has emerged from development testing and prototype evaluations, the driving experience is expected to be a genuine revelation for the Toyota sedan faithful. The suspension calibration is reportedly tuned to achieve that elusive balance between firm and compliant. Nobody wants to drive a car that beats them up on city streets, and nobody wants a car that feels like a boat on a country road. The target appears to be a setup that is controlled and precise when you want to push, but relaxed and absorbent when the road conditions demand it. That's exactly the right brief for a sedan that needs to serve as both a daily commuter and a weekend driver. Steering feel is an area where the development team has reportedly invested significant effort. Toyota sedans have historically offered light, easy steering that prioritizes low-speed maneuverability over road feel. The new direction appears to weight the steering more progressively, giving the driver genuine feedback from the front wheels as speed increases. For enthusiast buyers, that shift in philosophy could be the single most important dynamic improvement Toyota has made in years. The electric motors in the hybrid system are expected to provide that characteristic surge of torque at low speeds that makes hybrid performance sedans feel so effortlessly quick off the line. The integration between the combustion engine and electric components is anticipated to be seamless, with transition moments that are imperceptible to the driver. In a long highway cruise, the powertrain is expected to prioritize efficiency automatically, while in sport mode, it's anticipated to hold revs longer and sharpen throttle response considerably. Safety has always been a Toyota strength, and with this new sedan, the brand is expected to extend that legacy into territory that was recently reserved for vehicles costing significantly more. The anticipated safety suite reads like a checklist of everything a discerning buyer should demand. Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection is expected to be standard across all trim levels, as is adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go capability for freeway driving, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, and what Toyota is developing into a more advanced lane centering function are all anticipated to be part of the standard package. For highway driving, these systems working together should create a semi-supervised experience that reduces fatigue on long trips significantly. Blind spot monitoring with rear cross-traffic alert is expected to be widely available, along with a surround view camera system that makes parking in tight urban environments considerably less stressful. A head-up display is anticipated for higher trim levels, projecting critical driving information onto the windshield, so the driver's eyes never have to leave the road. Perhaps most significantly, Toyota is expected to offer what could be their most advanced driver assistance package yet in the top configurations of this sedan. This would include hands-free highway driving capability within clearly defined conditions, a feature that has become a key selling point in this competitive segment, and one that buyers in this price range are increasingly treating as a requirement rather than a bonus. Let's talk money, because ultimately, how this vehicle is priced will determine whether it disrupts the market or simply participates in it. The anticipated starting price for the base configuration is expected to land in a range that positions this sedan as a compelling alternative to established mid-luxury offerings, with entry points that could undercut comparable German and Korean competitors by a meaningful margin. As you move through the trim levels, pricing is expected to scale with the content, reaching into premium territory for the fully loaded top-spec configuration. That range would place this Toyota sedan in direct conversation with vehicles that wear significantly more prestigious badges. And the argument Toyota appears to be building is that the substance justifies the comparison. Value has always been a Toyota weapon, and that weapon appears to be getting a considerable sharpening here. Resale value projections for this vehicle are expected to be among the strongest in the segment, a factor that many buyers underweight when calculating the total cost of ownership. Toyota's historical resale performance, combined with the anticipated technology content and build quality improvements, should create a depreciation curve that makes the effective cost of ownership genuinely competitive with anything currently on the market. Speaking of the competition, let's put this Toyota in context, because understanding where it stands relative to its key rivals is essential to appreciating what the brand is attempting to accomplish. The obvious names in this conversation are the BMW 5 Series, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, the Genesis G80, and the Lexus ES. Each of these vehicles represents a different philosophy, a different strength, and a different buyer profile. The BMW 5 Series has long owned the driving dynamics conversation in this segment. It's the car you buy when you want a sedan that feels like a sports car in a suit. Where the 5 Series has historically struggled is in interior technology and value retention relative to its transaction price. If Toyota can deliver driving dynamics that get within striking distance of the Bavarian benchmark while offering superior technology and better value, that's a significant competitive threat. The Mercedes E-Class goes all in on interior opulence and the perceived prestige of the three-pointed star. It's a car that sells heavily on brand emotion, and it does so successfully. But in terms of electrified powertrain sophistication and efficiency, Toyota's expected hybrid mastery could create a meaningful differentiation point that resonates with buyers who are increasingly interested in what's under the hood as much as what's on the trunk lid. The Genesis G8-O represents perhaps the most interesting competitive dynamic. Genesis has essentially built its entire brand strategy around offering more content for less money, and it has worked. Toyota's new sedan will need to either match Genesis on content while justifying a higher price through brand equity, or undercut Genesis on price while demonstrating comparable or superior quality. Either path is viable, but the execution needs to be near perfect. The Lexus ES comparison will inevitably come up, and it's a fascinating one within the Toyota family ecosystem. If the new sedan encroaches too heavily on ES territory, it creates an internal competition problem. But Toyota may be betting that the two vehicles serve meaningfully different buyers and that a more performance-oriented, technologically aggressive Toyota sedan and a more traditionally luxurious Lexus can coexist profitably in the lineup. So, what truly makes this vehicle special? Strip away the specs, the comparisons, the pricing strategy, and the technology features, and what you're left with is a story about conviction. Toyota spent 30 years watching the sedan market evolve, studying what worked and what didn't, understanding what buyers said they wanted versus what they actually bought, and engineering a response that isn't reactive but is instead deeply considered. The specialness of this vehicle lies in the fact that Toyota didn't try to copy what already exists. They didn't look at the BMW 5 Series and say, let's build that. They looked at the entire landscape, identified the gaps that no current vehicle was filling, and built toward those gaps with their own unique strengths. The hybrid powertrain expertise is uniquely Toyota. The anticipated build quality and reliability reputation is uniquely Toyota. And now, the design ambition and interior sophistication appear to be joining that list of distinguishing qualities. There is also something deeply compelling about the patience this car represents. In an industry that is constantly chasing trends and reacting to competitors, Toyota built this sedan on their own timeline, with their own standards, without compromising the elements that matter most to their buyers. That restraint, that discipline, is itself a form of confidence that the product reflects at every level. The final verdict on this Toyota sedan is one of genuine anticipation and measured excitement. Based on everything that has emerged from the development process, this vehicle is expected to represent not just a new chapter for the Toyota sedan lineup, but a genuinely significant contribution to what the luxury sedan segment looks like going forward. The design appears bold enough to generate desire. The technology appears sophisticated enough to satisfy demanding buyers. The powertrain appears advanced enough to compete with the best electrified options in the class. And the pricing appears strategic enough to make the value argument compelling without sacrificing the premium positioning the vehicle appears designed to occupy. Is it perfect? No vehicle that exists only in anticipation ever is, and there will inevitably be areas where the production reality differs from the development promise. But the direction is clear, the intent is serious, and the execution, based on all available indications, appears to be worthy of the ambition that produced it. Toyota has been quiet for a long time. The shockwave they've just sent through the sedan market suggests that the silence was not absence. It was preparation. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest automotive innovations, make sure to subscribe to AutoElite World, turn on notifications, and let us know in the comments what you think about this vehicle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.